When you wake up and you realize you've been sleeping through your...
Welcome to a new edition of Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino with the bandleader Heidi Phillips of the legendary Kansas City indie rock band Frogpond. This Kansas City institution was active from 93 to 2000, and they are gearing up for the release of their first full album in 20 years. This popular band is rewriting a story that seemingly ended long ago. It all began, quite simply, as a rock project between then-college student Heidi Phillips and a handful of novice musicians that catapulted into a all-too-brief staple of the 90s alt and indie rock scene. They won over the audiences of Kansas City and today represent a much-needed sound and presence of familiarity needed as the world recovers from COVID and live music begins in earnest. This is a great story. Enjoy the tale.
Well, hey, thank you very much. It was so nice to hear that the band is back, so I really appreciate you taking a minute out to talk about it.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You bet. So I guess first and foremost, without beating around the bush at all here, I have to say, in my collective memory, I'm 49 right now, my 20s, I saw you so many times at the Hurricane, at your height. And the thing that strikes me about this revival is I was hoping the pandemic, and I was hoping that during this time, bands would come back together. We would all see some level of, like, let's just maybe see some things happen that are positive. Was this band coming back together any outgrowth, any reflection of what we went through over the last year and a half?
I mean, it wasn't planned. I mean, it was actually, everything was in motion before that. So with the pandemic, with COVID happening, though, I mean, it delayed us from getting together, but then we were able to make it work. So it was definitely a positive thing for us during the pandemic, which is still going on, if you ask me. But so, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I wouldn't say that it was planned, but I think that we've got benefited with the positive type of outcome from it, in that sense, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it certainly does.
Yeah.
You know, and the one thing about watching your video, which was so well orchestrated and well made, I think I could probably speak for a lot of Frogpond fans out there. There's so many good memories that come back. There's a timelessness. There's an energy that I don't think any of us ever thought was going to go away, regardless of if you guys were playing or not playing. Do you feel that resurgence when you get back in the room with the band and begin this again?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it doesn't feel like I'm like rehashing old memories. It just feels like a continuation of that same type of energy. So I really appreciate you saying that. Thank you.
What was it like the first time? What was the first song? What was the first bar? What was it like to actually hear that sound being emitted from every band member as you got back together for the first time?
Well, I mean, the funny thing about it is we've only played the one house party that John McGrath, the video is made by him. So that's actually the only actual show that we've played. We've kind of done everything backwards. I started writing and demoing the songs, and then I got the band together, and then we recorded. I mean, I can't wait to play more shows with these girls. And, I mean, we definitely have good energy when we're together and practicing, and we had a great energy at the house party. We just did an in-studio session with The Bridge that's going to air Wednesday, I think, at 4 p.m., So we've done minimal live shows, to be honest. The best example of that energy for me, I guess, would come from our time in the studio together. We spent a whole week in the studio together, and the energy was just awesome. So
your first incarnation, it all began in '94 and went to 2000. Does it seem like it was a lot longer than that?
Well, I guess Justine and I talk about this, and technically, I guess it started in '93. But yeah, I mean, it's 6 or 7 years. It seemed like a lifetime. I mean, so much stuff was packed into that small amount of time that, yeah. And then the 20 years between it, I mean, who knows what I was doing, and then here I am again, you know?
Yeah.
Like I was sleeping for 20 years. I don't know. Hibernating.
Well, there's a lot of people that are ecstatic that you're back. When you think back to those years, the 6, 7 year span when you were playing, are there any moments in shows or specific times that you remember that were like, wow, you really absorbed the impact that you were having on the fan base here in Kansas City?
Well, I mean, you just talked about playing, like, the hurricane shows, and to be honest, I mean, playing the hurricane was like coming home. The crowd was always so awesome. We just had a great time. The energy, we fed off the energy of the crowd, and hopefully vice versa. So, I mean, those are always great memories, for sure.
What has been the response since you've announced this and things have been kind of gaining steam? Has the community just really risen up? Has it been overwhelming?
I mean, yeah, it's been really positive. I mean, we've definitely gotten a lot more attention than I don't know what I thought was going to happen, but the response has been really positive. We get personal notes saying, "Oh, you know, we're so excited you guys are back together for another album." One fan was like, "I knew you guys weren't done," you know what I mean? Like, I knew you had too much in you, you know? So, I mean, it's been great. Yeah, it's been really great.
You know, the beauty of life is that we evolve and change, and things do that over time, and you had a 20-year absence. What is it like for you to create music again with this group after this long away? How much more, what kind of evolution did you all go through that's making you a stronger organism now?
I mean, for the last 20 years, I actually continued to write music. I just kind of explored with different styles and different ways of writing, you know, and then 20 years of life experience, you know, put all that together and doing this third Frogpond record, which started, sadly, due to the death of our drummer, Billy, that it kind of spawned this whole getting back together and playing a show for a celebration of life, and Justine and I just really enjoying that type of connection of playing Frogpond songs again. And I just tried to look at this new album with that same style of just intuitive writing that I did with Frogpond, and then the 20 years of life experience and playing experience just kind of fell in there, however it worked. So, I mean, it feels really good and really natural.
So, you know, it almost seems like your fan base is like another band member. They're like a pseudo-ghost band member, but they're a part of the entirety, the energy that you all have. What do you like the best about Kansas City crowds?
I mean, everyone's so friendly, and it's another thing about the music community is they're all so supportive of each other. You know, we put this third record out on blacksite.org with the Blacksite record label. It's like a co-op, and it's basically a co-op label put together to support local bands. So there's a lot of other awesome local bands on it. But to talk about the fan base, I mean, immediately when we put the vinyl up for pre-sale on Bandcamp through Blacksite, you know, we started to get like pre-sale purchases and all these special, just like personal notes from the fans. And, you know, it means a lot. It's more than just when a fan messages you and says, "Hey, I'm so glad you're back," or, "Hey, could you maybe sign my record before you send it out," and things like that. That means something to me. That's what it's all about. So
as you get back together and there's kind of this Phoenix rebirth, so to speak, I'm going to kind of ask you a fantastical question here. If you had a dream tonight and you run into your younger self right before you started this band, and this isn't a regret question, and you could give your younger self one piece of advice based on the wisdom that you've gained over all these years, what would it be?
Gosh, that's a really hard question. I don't know, try to enjoy the moment more, maybe, you know, just enjoy it. And so, I mean, I'd even tell myself that now, or, I mean, I think that's good advice for everyone in general, you know. We can worry about the way things are going to turn out, but, you know, the bottom line is the moment you have is now, so try to enjoy it.
What does the title Time Thief mean?
Maybe it relates in context to that. You look back and 20 years has gone by and you know, maybe you didn't enjoy the moment so much. You weren't in it. You weren't appreciating it. Or you have people that make you these promises and then they don't deliver, and you let yourself be dependent on someone else or what someone else says. And then you turn around and look around, maybe that's not what they meant at all, or it just didn't turn out that way. You know, it can definitely relate to just enjoy the moment, be more in the moment, because the time will disappear before you know it.
How long do you want this to go on from here? I mean, do you have any plans on, I know you can't say, well, we're going to do it for this long, but, I mean, are you all in it to win it? Is this your back and it's going to go on for as long as it's going to go on?
I mean, yeah, I mean, we're in it. It's like an open... it's not like, oh, we're just going to play this show and be done. It's just kind of open. You know, it's like whatever opportunities come our way and whatever we're able to do, and if everyone can have fun and it's adding some positivity to people's lives and fans still want to hear it, you know, it is what it is. We'll see how it goes, you know.
you've obviously taken in everything that the fans have given to you for all these years, and we have a perception. We have an idea of who you all are, possibly, loosely as a band. But tell me, what's your perception of this band right now, 2021, pre-release of your first album in 20 years? Who is Frogpond?
I mean, Frogpond is the same entity. It's just the new, version, the current version of it. It's almost like I had talked to people in the past about trying to get together and do a reunion show. It just nothing ever seemed right. This seemed right. It's almost like it was meant to be. It just feels like a fate type of deal. So, I mean, the same energy that you felt, back then is continued on, and it is still here now with all the new members, and it feels just as good and the same, and everyone feels like they just fit right where they're supposed to be, and we have a good energy. It's great.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I could even tell from the video. You're back full force. It's wonderful to see you, both as a fan and professionally. It's been an honor to speak with you. Good luck with this. I think it's going to just be amazing for this town, not only to have live music, but to kind of feel like things are right again. I think Frogpond's going to make us feel like that.
I hope so. I hope we can add a little bit of that. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino episode, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest musicians in Kansas City and spots all over the world, giving fans all that tasty music. And thanks to Heidi on behalf of Frogpond for the music and her time. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino in the iTunes Store. And until next time, enjoy all of the music and those tasty stories, my friends.